Okay, I'm from Punjab, from an agrarian society. When I was doing my graduation, Punjab was going through a phase of violence and many other things. So I grew up during that terrorism period, and as I belong to a family who was involved in agriculture, so I was part of the agriculture operations. When I was watching films, whether it was on television or in the cinemas, I used to think that what we do and how we are projected in the films, there is a big gap between that. So I used to feel insulted that this is not we, this is not our representation, this is not the representation of Punjab, this is not the representation of Punjabis. So when I came to Chandigarh to study masters, I took admission in Indian ancient history, archaeology and culture. But simultaneously at that time Chandigarh was a vibrant city and lot of film festivals and private screenings were happening in Chandigarh. So it was an introduction to all kind of a different kind of cinema for me. After watching those films, I started taking interest in cinema and thinking it seriously that this perception, how we are projected and what kind of people we are, we need to do something in this area. And then I got some friends who were already involved in filmmaking. One of my friend, Rajiv Sharma, he was making a documentary film on a poet, Avtar Singh Pash. Pash is a very famous poet from Punjab. And he was staying with me. We were staying in the same room in hostel. So he got me involved in making of that film. I was very reluctant and saying that I know nothing about the filmmaking. He said, you know about the poet. So I was involved in script writing of that film. That was my first introduction to film as far as the making part is concerned. Then I started taking interest in documentary films. I watched a lot of films, documentary films. And I thought that this is the medium I'm meant for. So initially I thought that for me it is difficult to enter in the field. Then I took a job that was in audit department. As at that time for me, survival was most important thing. So whatever was on the offer, I took it. So during my job in audit department, I got the chance to study a lot. During that 3.5 years, I studied a lot and I simultaneously I watched a lot of film and I started writing for articles. For newspapers, for magazines. Then one day Rajiv came from Mumbai and asked me, what are you doing here in this audit department? So I asked him that what should I do? He said, why don't you go and make films? So next day he was going back to Mumbai and I promised him that within 15 days I'm coming to Mumbai. So I took without pay leave from my department and went to Mumbai. I did my internship with Cinema Vision. They were producing a well-known television documentary series that was Surbi, Siddharth Kak, Renuka Shane, and I got the chance to watch films, interact with filmmakers, and then I thought that here is a metropolitan city known for its film culture, but it is not for me. I need to learn the technique and go back. I was told by different filmmakers who were very experienced filmmakers, they were telling me that if you are going to make films about Punjab, in Punjab, on Punjab, then you need to learn each and every part of the filmmaking. You need to shoot yourself, you need to edit yourself, you need to write the scripts, and you need to sell your own films. So that was my introduction to film. When I came back from Mumbai, that was way back in 1999, at that time there was a lot of reporting on agrarian crisis in Punjab. So I thought this is the topic which I have to work on. So that was my beginning with the film. And then I resigned the job, and after that I'm working as a full-time filmmaker. And during in between period there was period when I couldn't make film due to different reasons. At that time I was working with mainstream media organizations like Tribune, then a television channel, Day and Night News, and then another diaspora channel, Global Punjab. So I got the experience from mainstream, whereas I'm from alternative stream. So that's my journey. Yeah, the difference is for a filmmaker, color and mobility is most important thing. That's what is important for a filmmaker from technical point of view, from making attractive frames, interesting canvases. Punjab is full of color and full of mobility like any other society. But as Punjab has seen green evolution, so you will find green, lush green fields anytime except harvesting seasons. And then if you have green, lush green fields and then mustard flowers and then colorful tractors, red, blue tractors moving in between that green and yellow flowers, it's very interesting, attractive canvas for any filmmaker. So you can any day capture the superficial or the you may call it touristic image of that landscape. But for me, the important question was that at what cost Punjab has produced this canvas. For me, the people who are producing that canvas, who are making that colorful canvas, their life was more important. For example, this is what I captured in my first film. The mobility was very important for any filmmaker and it was important for me too. But I was interested in the things happening inside the human beings. So if you have a lush green field and a person is doing spray, whether it is pesticide or weedicide, whatever it is, you have an interesting canvas. You can move your camera, you can pan left, you can pan right, you can tilt up from green to that person working in the field, you can pan down. So any kind of movement is possible there. You can move your camera and you can follow the person. So every kind of mobility and colorful canvas is there. I was interested in before and after that particular moment. What was that person doing before he started spraying? What happened to him after he finished that job? So when you finish a spray session, you get itching on your skin. You keep on itching your skin and in the evening you feel all kind of dizziness and for next 6 days you feel like you have been intoxicated. But nobody is there to diagnose that this person is suffering from a kind of illness. There is a skin infection going on and he is intoxicated through that particular weedicide, which is a poison, which is killing insects, which is killing weeds, is on him too. So I was interested in noticing and registering that part of the canvas. So when I was making this film, my first film is about agricultural labor in Punjab. I started making that film about indebtedness. A lot of people were talking about agrarian crisis and indebtedness was registered as a major element of agrarian crisis. So when I started making that film, I started talking to people that how farmers are under debt, what is their situation. But very soon I realized that the debt is in layers. There are people who are in deep debt, but they have land holdings. And there are people who are also in deep debt, but the magnitude is different and they don't have land holdings. So there was agricultural labor. They were in debt and they were living very poor life. So I thought that there are people who are talking about farmers' crisis. They are treating agriculture crisis as farmers' crisis, whereas even the labor is involved in that crisis. So it is not just farmers' crisis. It is agriculture crisis and agriculture labor is part of that. So I started making that film, that I need to talk about these people, and simultaneously I realized that lot of people during green revolution could study in institutions like universities and research institutions. So there were people in journalism, in research and in academics who were talking about farmers. They were from that community and they had the experience. So there were people who could talk about themselves. While studying, they have learnt a lot, and now they were in journalism and in academics and research institutes. But there was very few people, negligible people who were from agricultural labor and they were in journalism or in any kind of opinion making, or you may call it knowledge production. So I think this is an unheard variable of Punjab's agrarian crisis. So I started working on that. Once I started working on that, I realized that it is agricultural labor, but the bowman is worst hit. So it's about agricultural labor, and 1/3 of the film is about bowman agricultural labor and their crisis. So after that, whatever film I am making, you will find that the first film trained me in a different fashion. You will find bowmen everywhere. So that's my journey. Actually, with this transition of technology from analog to digital, it has facilitated filmmaking. But as far as economics of filmmaking is concerned, it is almost on the same level. Now the magnitude is altogether different. If you have a film and it is available online, people can watch it. But what about economy? How will you survive? It's very easy to make a film, but it is really very difficult to keep on making films. So you will find that most of the documentary filmmakers, they make a film. Whether friends support them, their parents support them, and they get support from different people, whether they are professionals or they can get that help for their first film. But second film is the most difficult film for any professional's career. Same is the case with me. Most of the films are self-financed and self-funded. When you are making a film on a hypothesis or on a synopsis that this is a topic I am going to explore as a filmmaker, you can't have a timeline and you can't have a budgetary limits. You are following something and it can develop in any part, and you can get different layers while working on the film. So the kind of film I am involved in is really difficult for institutes to support, and there are very few institutes who are supporting that and very few institutes who are funding such films. So it is really difficult. Now the technology is very, you may call it user friendly, but the economy is against the filmmaker, particularly if you are trying to understand things and you are trying to make it from the perspective of unheard people. So it is difficult. Otherwise, lot of corporate films are being produced and different channels are producing it. Earlier there were options like Doordarshan. Doordarshan used to have slots for documentary films, and in the beginning even private channels used to have slots for the documentary films. Now they are cutting their budgets on content generation. You will find less news bulletins, you will find discussions, as they will invite 4 people to discuss and they will produce the program in studio. You may find those programs very intelligent, but simultaneously they are cutting the budget. You will find professionals who are getting huge amounts of money as salaries, but the next layer is 100 times below them. If one person is getting, for example, 100 rupees at the top end, in the second rank people are getting just 50, and the third rank people are getting just 20. So there is huge gap between, the hierarchy is really working on a different magnitude. So it is really difficult time for documentary makers, but simultaneously these are the most inviting times when society is in transition and you need to listen a lot of things. So it depends on you. For me, film is not economics. For me, film is just part of my life. I earn, I spend. I'm not promoting this as a model of filmmaking. I'm just trying to express the limitations I'm working in. Actually, as the user of internet, social media are increasing, they are opinion makers. So they are people like us. So they can claim whatever they feel like. People like us always feel like placing us on the driving seat. So whatever middle class is doing, they're talking about themselves. So we need to understand these things critically. So sending an SMS, sending WhatsApp messages and signing online petitions, they have their value. But the protests, those are significant. Who can address many things simultaneously? For example, if you are part of a protest where a lot of people are gathering, they are understanding, they are protesting, they are demanding certain things, you learn a lot. On the one hand, you are trying to understand the social dynamics and build a kind of solidarity within the society. If the issue you are addressing has social, political, economic linkages, you are simultaneously trying to influence the opinion at social level, and simultaneously you are trying to influence the decision making at political or administrative level. So that protest is really important. But during these times, the protest, mobilization of people have become really difficult as the economy and our way of life is changing. So we are in a transition when internet is not approaching to all of the population in country like India. There is a big digital divide and most of the opinions are being formed by the digitally equipped or people linked with internet. So I think these are transition times. We need to understand it critically. For me, it is really important to understand the issues when they are part of mainstream. For example, if there is an issue which is being negotiated in Delhi, Jalandhar, Bangalore, Mumbai, they'll come in solidarity. They'll come in solidarity. Small towns like Jalandhar, Ludhiana, they'll come in solidarity. If something happens in Jalandhar, will Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai come in solidarity or not? So most of the time when we are theorizing these protests, for example, I have made this film on a rape and murder case. When I was making this film, that was 2006, 2007. 2005 to 2007 I was making this film. It was a protest on rape and murder case. At that time there was a lot of discussion about judicial activism, but simultaneously a court judgment was in discussion at this protest. So I was trying to understand what kind of discussion we are having at academic level, at journalistic level or in cities, and simultaneously how these topics are being negotiated by the people at rural level when they are confronting the real life issues. For me, it was really heartening to know and be part of that movement as a filmmaker, that they were criticizing judiciary like anything. Their criticism of the judiciary was much sharper than the judicial activism centered in cities, than the academic institutions and research institutions. For me, that was really important to understand those voices. And when the protest on rape and murder case happened in Delhi, whole of the country responded. Whole of the country responded. And there were people who were saying that this is not a urban agitation. This is pan-Indian agitation. My question was that yes, this is pan-Indian agitation, where people from all walks walks of life are participating. They are expressing this solidarity. But if something happened to a non-middle class or a lower class girl in the same city, will it happen in the same fashion or not? Will this solidarity continue or not? When lower income group express their solidarity, most of the middle class and upper middle class say that this is not confined to class. Look, from all walks of people, all walks of life, people are participating. But the issue is not that. They are definitely participating. They are empathetic, they are sympathetic people. They are for justice. Will middle class or upper middle class or English educated urban class respond to their issues too? So that is important question. So when the Delhi rape and murder case happened in 2011, in 2012, this film was screened in lots of towns and villages in 2013. I think that was the year when I screened it maximum number of times, and it got very good response at that time. So I keep on screening this film at different places, although it was made in 2006, but it is still relevant. Actually, when you are working on an issue where you want some kind of affirmative action, you are an activist. And when you are trying to understand the unheard voices, you are an activist. You are trying to do something actively. You are not just a passive filmmaker that something is happening in front of me and I am capturing it. I am trying to go all the way to the places where I can hear voices, and trying to go all the way to the places where faces are not visible. I am trying to understand those silhouettes, those shadows, those pauses, those silences. In this film is just 59-minute length, and there is a silence which is of 2 minutes 42 seconds. That's a long pause. So around 1/20th part of the film is a single silence. So when I am trying to understand those things, I am an activist. I am not activist in the sense the people who are part of the film, but simultaneously I am an activist who are interested in change, in pro-people change. I am a person as a filmmaker interested in justice, in parity. I am interested in justice for gender. I am interested in social justice for Dalits. So definitely I am an activist filmmaker. I don't have any fixed formula which can work for anybody. So for me, documentary remains exciting for 15 years. I'm making films for the last 15 years. What I have understood is that you need to have your own parameters of success and failure. My films may not be able to attract many audiences. My films may not be able to earn money. But was that the real purpose? What was my purpose? So my purpose will define my success or failure. I made these films to make those issues part of public debates, and I have successfully made that. And in any society, there is a section of population who are interested in critically understanding the issues. So if you are reaching out to those people and intend to reach to more, I think that's enough. You can't say that at first audience should commit that they'll come to watch my films, then I'll make films. You need to make films and let the audience decide. So I think it depends on you. What are the parameters for you for making it successful or not successful? For me, it is this way only.